The story begins with the funeral of Mio's parents, who tragically died in an accident while on their way to pick her up from kindergarten. Mio, now an orphan at the tender age of 5, is pitied by those around her. They wonder aloud if Mio will have to live alone now, and who will adopt her. The crowd debates and refuses to take Mio in. Some claim they aren't good with kids, while others argue they already have too many children. Someone asks Aniki if she would adopt Mio, but Aniki declines, saying that adopting Mio would ruin her chances of getting married. The people start considering putting Mio in an orphanage. At this moment, a beautiful lady named Ayako stands up and announces that she will adopt Mio. The woman next to Ayako questions her, reminding her that she's just working now. But Ayako insists that she has decided and will raise her sister's daughter. While Ayako shares her decision, a little boy named Taken listens to the conversation from the doorway. Ayako kneels at Mio's level and asks if she would like to live with her, mentioning that she, too, feels lonely living alone. Mio agrees to live with Ayako, feeling comforted by the thought that Ayako also needs company. And so, Ayako adopts Mio, and they begin their new life together. Many years have passed and Ayako is now 34 years old. She is a housewife who works from home. They are living a normal life now while Mio is 15 years old and studying in high school, first year. Years pass, and Ayako is now 34. One morning, Mio wakes up late and asks Ayako why she didn't wake her. Ayako explains that she tried. She urges Mio to hurry and eat breakfast before Taken arrives. Annoyed, Mio complains that Taken doesn't need to pick her up every day since they part ways at the station. Ayako finds this amusing, thinking Mio is just being coy. But Mio insists that Taken is just her childhood friend and tutor, not someone special. But Ayako believes that Mio is just hiding her feelings. Soon, Taken arrives. He is Ayako's neighbor and a second-year university student, now 20 years old. Ayako greets Taken, thinking he wouldn't come every day just to pick up Mio if he didn't care. She apologizes for Mio still eating. Taken, whose real name is Takumi, asks Ayako if it isn't time she stopped calling him Taken, given that he turned 20 yesterday and isn't a child anymore. Ayako laughs and acknowledges that he's grown up, reminiscing about when he was small. She teases him, thinking he might be a future partner for Mio. Taken asks her to stop the teasing, but Ayako insists that changing how she addresses him is hard. She jokingly suggests he could call her Ayako Mama, as she already thinks of him as a son. Taken firmly states that he isn't Ayako's son. He is about to say something else when Mio enters, apologizing for making him wait. With that, Taken and Mio leave for school. Ayako asks them to be careful and reminds them about the promise for tonight. After they leave, Ayako shuts the door and stands behind it thinking when she is alone, it feels really quiet in the house. She tries to keep herself busy by cleaning, doing the laundry, and mopping the floor. While she works, she thinks about Mio and Taken. She wonders if she will feel lonely if Mio gets married someday and leaves the house. Ayako remembers the day she adopted Mio and thinks of the day when she saw Mio standing there all alone. She didn't want her to be lonely. After house chores, she hops on doing work and takes online meetings. After the meeting, the chief executive officer, Yamami Oinomori, praises her for doing great in the meeting. She says it is because of all Ayako's achievements that she accumulated for the past 10 years. Ayako is a little surprised to realize that she has been working like this for the past 10 years. Yamami agrees and says many things have happened in the past 10 years. Especially, when Ayako, their recruit, suddenly said that she had become a mother. It shocked her. Ayako apologizes for the sudden announcement she did once. She says she is very grateful for that time. Like that time when Mio was still in kindergarten, and she was called to school because her daughter had a fever. Every time, Yamami always gave her some easy way out, like allowing her to work from home, and also letting her take more paid leaves. Yamami asks Ayako to relax and not to be worried about anything. She adds that creating an environment where her workers can work at their best is also part of her job. She says, as a woman, she wanted to support Ayako, who voluntarily adopted Mio and became a mother for her niece who lost both of her parents. She asks Ayamori how is it all going. Confused, Ayako asks Yamami what she means by that. Yamami lets Ayako know that it is about time to find a man. Shocked, Ayako asks Yamami to wait, but Yamami tells Ayako that loving is a great thing. Her work will be more enjoyable, and both her body and mind will feel fulfilled. Ayako says she doesn't want to be told that by a woman who spends all her money compensating her husband because she had an affair. Yemami laughs and says she has already filed for separation and succeeded 3 times. Ayako says she also wants to experience love but it is still not the time. Until after Myo becomes an adult, she can't look for a man. She has to wait until Myo graduates and finds a job. Concerned, Yemami asks Ayako what is she even saying as she will already be 40 by that time. She asks isn't now the perfect time for her to think about her happiness. Ayako cuts the call and thinks about what Yemami said. She wonders about her happiness. If she marries, then her husband will be Myo's stepfather. Myo is not even her biological daughter. She doesn't want to make Myo uncomfortable by bringing a stranger into their family because the most important thing in her life right now is Myo. At night, they all celebrate Taken's birthday even though it is a day late. They have drinks and enjoy their time together. Ayako tells Taken that this is not a very fancy dinner but his family must have gone all out celebrating already. But Taken tells Ayako that they just went to a restaurant. Besides, he prefers the food that she made for him. Ayako finds it cute and blushes. She says he is a good and honest boy. She looks at Taken and thinks that it would be great if a boy like Taken became Myo's groom. She gets excited thinking it would be the best for Myo. Taken has a kind and serious personality. He is also tall and quite handsome. He is studying at a top-ranking university and has a promising future. And even if Myo married him, she would be living next door 1 minute away by foot. In that case, she won't be feeling lonely in the future either. She thinks that Taken is the perfect husband for her daughter, Myo. She looks at Myo and Taken talking to each other and thinks they seem to get along well. Myo asks Taken why is he coming to tutor her since the exams are over already. Taken asks Myo if she wants him to double her homework. Annoyed, Myo asks Taken isn't a misuse of power. Ayako clarified that she called Taken over. Because without Taken, Myo can't understand her lessons so easily. Myo says that isn't true. Taken also agrees with Myo saying he isn't sure about that. Ayako pours some drink in the glass but it turns out to be empty. So she leaves Myo and Taken alone to open a new bottle. She asks if they would like orange juice or chanmery. But she thinks about something else and leaves. Soon, Ayako brings out a high-class bottle and pours some drink for Taken. Taken asks isn't this an expensive bottle? But Ayako assures him that it was a gift so it's fine. The two take a sip of the drink and find it fruity and delicious. Myo also wants to taste some of the drink and asks Ayako to give her a sip. But Ayako says that Myo is still a minor. However, Myo doesn't listen and tries to snatch the glass. Worried, Ayako says she can't allow Myo to sip the drink as she is still a minor. The two are having a proper competition over the glass while Taken sits there trying to stop them. In the process, the glass slips and lands on Taken's shirt. Ayako apologizes to Taken for the accident and offers to clean his shirt. In return, she gives him the shirt from the study camp he held with Myo. She says he can take a shower if he wants. She says if he likes, they can go in together as an apology for spilling wine on him. She will wash his back. Shocked, Taken asks what is she even saying. Ayako puts detergent into the water while letting Taken know that he doesn't have to be so shy. They used to take baths together long ago. Taken says that was 10 years ago. She asks Taken to let his dirty shirt soak in the water. Taken agrees and takes off his shirt and puts it into the water. Ayako sees Taken without a shirt and turns red because of shyness. She opens the door of the other room, closes the door behind her, and slumps to the ground. Ayako holds her cheeks questioning why is she blushing. It is just Taken's upper body. She questions why is she acting like a teenage girl. She gets a flashback of Taken without a shirt and thinks it is a proper man's body. His muscles were so lean and defined, a splendid young man's body. That Taken from the past is already old enough to be drinking now. After that session, she goes out to find Myo all fumed up from drinking. Myo stands up and leaves to sleep. Ayako looks at the time and lets Taken know that it is late already. She asks if shouldn't he head home soon. Taken replies saying he doesn't have a curfew and it is right next door. Ayako laughs and says that she will have him hang out with Andi for a little longer. She sits on the chair near Taken. Taken says he is fine as he is pretty good with holding himself with drinks. Ayako asks Taken if he was drinking before he turned 20. She says he shouldn't do that. She laughs about it and says she will pretend she didn't hear that. They have some more drinks and Ayako says she cannot believe that Taken is old enough to have a drink with her. As she gets older, time just seems to pass by faster. She is becoming an old maid in the blink of an eye. Taken looks at her and says she isn't an old maid. Ayako says it is alright and lets Taken know that he doesn't have to flatter her. But Taken slams the table and lets Ayako know that he isn't flattering her. He says she is beautiful and kind and has an adult charm. He hesitates a bit to say more when Ayako says he is the only one who would say that to her. Ayako asks Taken if he has a partner. Shy, Taken asks why are they talking about this all of a sudden. Ayako suggests talking about love lives a little. Taken says he didn't even have one partner yet. Ayako is surprised to hear that Taken never had a partner. Taken asks her not to be so shocked but Ayako says he must be so popular. Taken says when he was in the swim club, he did get a few confessions. Ayako says she knew he was popular. She asks if he didn't go out with any of them. Taken replies saying they weren't quite what he was looking for. The two have a silent moment while Taken gulps the drink. Ayako asks Taken if he likes someone. Taken is taken aback by the question as he rubs his neck. Ayako realizes from his reaction that he got someone he likes. She asks if he had a crush on her for a long time. She thinks the girl must be Myo. She is getting happy thinking that her instincts are right. Taken replies saying he has liked this person for the longest time. He can't even think about going out with someone else. But he doesn't want to cause her trouble by confession, and he is scared he will destroy what they have right now. Besides, there is an age gap too. It's not that he minds the age gap, but he thinks the other person might mind it. Ayako thinks he is talking about Myo and gets happy when she realizes that Taken has pure love for Myo. She knows that Taken and Myo are 5 years apart. 5-year gap indeed seems big but both of them are students. She lets Taken know that he doesn't have to worry about the age gap. As long as there is love, age doesn't matter. She says he can't give up before the confession. Nothing will start if he doesn't confess to her. She says someone else will get her if he is too slow. Taken says it's not like that, to which Ayako says there is only one answer to this. He has to believe in himself. She lets him know that he is a wonderful boy. She asks him to screw up some courage and asks the girl out. With that said, Taken musters up the courage and finally says it. He lets Ayako know that he always liked her. Ayako is shocked to hear that. She points at herself and asks Taken if he is talking about her. Taken says that for 10 years, he has always liked her. This shocks Ayako even more. She cannot take what she just heard. She is shocked to realize that Taken likes her and not her daughter. The next morning, Ayako wakes up late and hurries into the kitchen to prepare breakfast for Myo. But Myo assures Ayako not to worry about it as she already had some cereal for breakfast. She says she will buy lunch later. Ayako apologizes to Myo for waking up late. Myo asks Ayako if she was drinking with Taken all night. Ayako is surprised to hear this question and agrees to be drinking. She thinks she drank too much so she doesn't remember very well. But in reality, she remembers Taken confessing his feelings for her. Myo looks at Ayako and asks what's going on as she is all blushed. Nervous, Ayako says she is fine. Just then, Taken comes in and Ayako gets more shocked. Hesitantly, she greets good morning to Taken. She questions when he arrives. Taken says he was calling at the door but no one replied. Ayako gets all flustered. She says it can't be and she is all messed up. Myo asks Ayako what's wrong with her. She has shown her pajamas to Taken before. Ayako realizes and agrees with Myo while wondering what is wrong with her. She thinks it is like she has started to see Taken as a man. Taken asks Myo if she could go ahead. Myo agrees and leaves Taken and Ayako alone. Taken says it is weird that Ayako fell asleep. Ayako replies saying she could fall asleep. Taken agrees saying he couldn't sleep as well. The two stand there for a brief moment in silence. Then, Taken is about to say something when Ayako says she will pretend like she didn't hear anything. This stuns Taken as he looks at her with confusion. Ayako says he was drinking a lot last night. Taken asks Ayako if she felt weird and said all that. Ayako asks Taken not to worry about it. She is already a grown woman. She is not a little girl who takes a talk seriously while they are drinking. She suggests forgetting what happened. Taken gets annoyed by Ayako's suggestion and squeezes his hands. He calls her with an aggressive tone, surprising Ayako. He asks why did she say that. He says it is true that he was drunk and what he said maybe he said it on impulse. He says maybe she can't see him like a child anymore. He says there is a lot of time when he thought about giving up. He says he has always liked her. Yet, after all this he still likes her. He says he would like them to seriously consider each other. He says she doesn't have to answer him right now and leaves. Ayako falls to the ground because of the shock. She is all red and trembling when she realizes that Taken is serious. Later in the day, Taken tells everything about his confession to his best friend, Satoya Ringu. Excited, Satoya could not believe that Taken finally confessed his feelings to Ayako. She says it is hard to believe. It is unusual for him to pass out in the middle of a conference. Taken says he couldn't sleep yesterday at all. She asks if he really likes Ayako. She says Ayako is a hot mom that everyone sees appealing. That is usually enough for a little boy like Taken to give up. But even so, it lasted more than 10 years for Taken. Satoya laughs when she hears about Taken taking a bath with Ayako when he was little, and that is when he started to like her. Taken asks Satoya to not make it sound like he is some sort of a bad guy. Satoya says no matter what, at the end of the day, he was able to convey his feelings. Taken finds this annoying and asks Satoya to shut up. He says even still, to confess like that, made him feel annoyed. Satoya eats her food and hopes that Taken's confession works for him. It is kind of like throwing a bombshell on a one-sided situation. Taken says his relationship with Ayako might not be able to go back to how it used to be. He was at his limit. He couldn't live with such one-sided love. Ayako treated him like a kid. He wasn't being treated like a man by a woman he was in love with. At night, when Myo comes back home, she asks Ayako if she prepared the dinner. But once she enters the house, she is shocked to see the mess. Ayako wakes up from her sleep and checks the time. She is shocked to see how late it is. She apologizes to Myo and asks if she can sleep outside. Concerned, Myo asks Ayako if she is alright. She has been acting strange since morning. Ayako quickly picks up the laundry and assures Myo that she is fine. She apologizes to Myo once again and lets her know that she will sort the mess out quickly. Myo asks Ayako if something happened with Taken. This takes Ayako by surprise. She tries to act all cool and asks Myo what she means. Myo says Ayako has been acting really weird. But Ayako picks up the laundry basket and says nothing happened and asks Myo not to say something like that so suddenly. Myo asks if Taken confessed to Ayako. This makes Ayako panic and she falls. Myo realizes what's happening and says she already saw it coming. Even then, Ayako lies and says it is not how Myo thinks. She was just surprised by the question and that's all. But Myo already knows what's been happening. Ayako asks Myo if she already knew about it. Myo takes a lollipop and asks Ayako if she asking about the fact that Taken is in love with Ayako. Yeah, she knew about it. She asks Ayako if she didn't know about it. Ayako goes into severe panic mode at this point while Myo sits on the sofa like a diva. She says she doesn't know if Ayako is too much of an airhead or if Taken really caught her by surprise. Taken says how is she supposed to know about all that? Isn't she 10 years older than Taken? Looking at it from his perspective, she is nothing more than a granny who lives next door. Myo says from where she sees it, Ayako is a granny. But he doesn't think that way. As long as there is love, age is just a number. Ayako remembers saying this to Taken last night. She says she thought that Taken likes Myo. But Myo asks Ayako how many times she has to tell Ayako that there is nothing like that between her and Taken. Ayako says Taken comes to pick up Myo every day. Myo lets her know that he just wants to see Ayako. Ayako claims that Taken helps Myo so willingly with her studies. But Myo clarifies that it is because Ayako asked him to tutor her. Ayako argues that when she got cold, he took care of her so that Myo wouldn't have to worry. But Myo laughs about it. She says that was all for Ayako, and there is no other way to look at it. Shocked, Ayako asks Myo if Taken likes her. Myo agrees and says he likes Ayako a lot. Myo asks Ayako what she is planning to do now while Ayako is busy panicking and worrying about what will happen. Myo asks Ayako if she will start going out with Taken. Ayako says that seems too sudden. Myo assures Ayako that she doesn't have to worry about her. She is 15 after all and doesn't plan on getting in the way. It would be nice if Ayako married Taken. It would be cool to have a young dad. But Ayako asks Myo not to even think about it and not to make fun of her elders. Myo says she feels a bit guilty, that Ayako had to sacrifice her 20s all for her, a stranger. Besides, it seems weird that a beautiful lady like Ayako has no partner. She sacrifices a part of her life for a little kid. But Ayako assures Myo that she was never a stranger. Also, she doesn't believe that she has sacrificed a part of her life for Myo. On the contrary, Myo has given her so much. She reminds Myo about the day she called Ayako mama for the very first time. But Myo stops Ayako right there and lets her know that she doesn't want to hear anything cheesy. She always talks about it, and when she is drunk, she starts crying. Ayako did have to make some sacrifices. Myo adds that she thinks of Ayako as her real mother. Just as Ayako wants her to be happy, she also wants Ayako to be happy. Ayako looks at Myo with a surprise. Myo takes her bags and says she is glad that Ayako always puts her first, but she should also give some attention to herself. She puts a lollipop in Ayako's mouth and leaves for her room. Before going, she asks Ayako to get ready as they will go out for dinner. Ayako is surprised to see how mature Myo has become. Myo says if they want to grab dinner, she thinks it would be best to go to that Italian restaurant near the station. The next day, Ayako is taking a shower while thinking about Taken. She remembers him saying that she doesn't have to answer right away. She thinks that she can't avoid Taken because of what happened. They are still neighbors after all. She is busy thinking when Taken knocks on the door. Ayako panics and comes out of the shower with a towel wrapped around her. She wasn't expecting him to come right now. She wonders if it is already time for him to tutor Myo. Isn't this earlier than usual? She calls Myo from downstairs asking if she is home. But Myo doesn't respond. She wonders what she should do now. She can't open the door like this. Just then she realizes that she has actually worn a towel in front of Taken a bunch of times. She thinks it might be weirder to change her behavior. She decides to just act like she always did. And with that, she opens the door for Taken. Shocked, Taken is taken aback by the surprise. He wasn't expecting Ayako in such a state. Terrified, he questions why is she dressed like this. Ayako quickly realizes what she did and clarifies that it's not like what Taken thinks. She says she just cleaned the storeroom and she had a lot of sweat, so she took a shower. Taken says she should have gotten dressed first. If it was some weird guy at the door, she could have faced a lot of trouble. Ayako laughs about it and asks Taken not to be silly. No one would go for an old woman like her. But Taken replies saying that is not true. She is beautiful and plenty charming. He closes the door behind him and adds that there is one guy here who is pretty excited. Ayako asks Taken what is he even saying. Taken replies saying the woman he likes is standing in front of him in a towel. Ayako realizes that she doesn't usually do this. It is because she knew it was Taken at the door, so she just opened the door without thinking much about it. She asks Taken not to misunderstand. She wasn't trying to make him get attracted to her. But Taken says he knows already. At the same time, Myo comes back home. She takes a peek through the door and says it seems like the two are having fun. She asks aren't they going a little fast. Ayako explains that she was in the shower. But Myo says she will be in her room so they can take their time until it is actually time for tutoring. She leaves after letting Taken know that he can cancel the class if he wants for today. Ayako keeps explaining that it isn't what it looks like, but Myo doesn't listen and leaves. Now, Taken and Ayako are left alone. Taken looks at Ayako and asks if she hasn't told Myo about him. Ayako replies saying she hasn't, but it seems like Myo already knew about it from the start. Taken says he was pretty obvious after all. Ayako laughs nervously thinking if she was the only one who couldn't understand what was happening. Taken takes off his show and says it is a bit early but he will go to Myo's room. Before he leaves, Ayako says she wants the two of them to talk for a bit. Taken looks at Ayako and asks if they will talk while she is wearing a towel. Embarrassed, Ayako clarifies that she will change first. After that, Ayako quickly changes and makes some hot tea. She brings the tea to the table while realizing her hands are shaking. Once settled, she suggests sorting things out as a starter. She asks Taken if he likes her. Taken replies with confidence that he does like her. He then proceeds to put his hand on her mouth to cover it. Ayako notices this and thinks Taken hides his mouth when he is feeling shy. They have known each other for so long, but she never noticed this. She tells Taken that she isn't sure whether to call it a final confirmation or something else. She asks him about the exact kind of situations he wants with her. Taken replies saying he wants a serious thing between them. And of course, he would like to get married to her. Ayako is shocked to hear about marriage. She asks Taken what is he talking about. Taken says he knows that he is still in college and sponging off his parents. Ayako says he got it wrong as that's not what she meant by the question. She asks if it is unusual. They are more than 10 years apart in age. Then there is Myo. She isn't married but she is a single mother. Taken says he is aware of that. His thoughts about the future include working with Ayako to raise Mio as his own daughter. As if he hasn't shocked Ayako enough, Taken adds that is why he has been thinking about getting a full-time job before he confessed. Ayako thinks she believed that it was a sudden confession, but Taken has already thinking about their future since long ago. She looks at Taken and asks when did he start liking her. Taken replies saying it was around 10 years ago. Ayako is shocked to realize that she was dense for about 10 years and didn't know what Taken thought about her. Ayako asks if 10 years ago was the time they met for the first time. Taken agrees and says it was practically love at first sight. Ever since he first saw her, he thought she was amazingly beautiful. Ayako is surprised to hear that. She thinks that this is too embarrassingly sweet. Taken says there was no turning back after they took that bath together. Ayako's happiness soon fades away when she hears about the bath. Come to think of it, they only took a bath together once when Taken was a little boy. She asks if he has been looking at her that way since that time. Taken gets shy after realizing what he has said. Ayako is also shocked as at that time, she was completely unguarded and totally exposed. She is shocked and bursts into tears. She finds it all awful. But Taken says she can't be the one in the wrong. It was she who came in without even asking. Ayako says it was because she thought he was still only a child. She says he was still an immature kid who didn't even start to grow physically. She says she is the one who should be embarrassed as she is already a fully grown adult. Taken says he may have seen it all but he only saw it from the perspective of a 10-year-old. Already crying. Ayako asks what part of that statement is reassuring. She apologizes for losing control of herself. At any rate, she knows that Taken is serious about her. She looks at him and says she can't go out with him. Ayako says she is very happy about Taken's feelings. She is happy that he likes an auntie like her. If anything, she should be grateful but she asks Taken to understand her situation. It is common sense that the two of them can't go out together and start seeing each other. Taken asks Ayako what she means by common sense. Ayako asks if he gets her point but Taken says he doesn't. He says it's either she does not like him or she does not see him as a college student as a possible love interest. That would be a pity but he would understand. However, she says that it has to do with common sense, and he can't accept that reason. Besides, it was she who said that age doesn't matter when there is love. Ayako says to be realistic, what's impossible is impossible. Taken asks Ayako that first she was talking about common sense and now about being realistic. Ayako says this is not just a matter between two people. It also has to do with things like work and social decency. Moreover, she asks Taken not to forget about his parents. Taken asks Ayako what the problem about his parents. Ayako says she is greatly indebted to his parents. Back then, when she was constantly in trouble, they always helped her. Taken is the eldest son of the Atarasawa family. That's why having a thing with someone like her means his parents would not be happy about something like that. So, returning evil or good is a behavior that she definitely couldn't bear. Taken says he guesses Ayako has a reason. He would like to say that he is not going to marry for the sake of his parents but that is probably how a naive kid would think. Certainly, marriage is not a matter of just two people. He thinks the same. Ayako thinks that Taken finally understands her sight. She says she is glad to hear that he understands her. But to her surprise, Taken says he already knew that she would be worried about that. So he talked to his parents in advance in that regard. So she can rest assured that his parents would never be a problem. After this, Ayako sits there in complete shock for a brief moment. She wasn't expecting such a plot twist. In the past, Taken was sitting in his doorway completely drenched in rain. At the same time, Ayako came back from work. She asks Taken what was he doing. Taken told her that his mom was coming late today, so they gave him a key but he left it in the house. Ayako realized that it must have been tough for Taken. She grabbed his hands and asked him to come to their house until his mom came home. She was worried that he would catch a cold at this rate. With that, Taken came to Ayako's house. Ayako told Taken that she would warm the bath up, and asked him to take his dirty clothes off. She helped him in the process saying she had to warm his body. But Taken declined the offer and said he could take it off himself. But Ayako helped Taken anyway. She said it is hard to take off when it's wet. She took the clothes and put them aside to wash them. After that, Taken takes a bath while thinking if Ayako mama still thinks of him as a preschooler. He looked at himself in the mirror and wondered if it was because he was still so thin and weak. He was busy shampooing his hair when all of a sudden, Ayako came into the bathroom asking how is the temperature. Shocked, Taken tried to cover himself and asked why she came in like this. Ayako started to put hot water in the tub, saying she thought she would warm up since she got rained on a little. She asked if he didn't want to go in with her. Taken tried to say no by saying it's not like he doesn't, but before he could complete his sentence, Ayako said that it was good then and started to wash herself. Taken looked at Ayako thinking he wasn't against it, but he didn't want to do it. He stood up and was about to leave, saying he was already done. But Ayako stopped Taken and grabbed him. Taken slipped and landed on Ayako. She told Taken that she knows boys his age don't like taking baths, but he is still all soapy. She asked him to sit so she could wash him. And with that, Ayako scrubbed Taken and washed his body. Ayako was feeling nice because of the warm water while Taken was sitting in the tub in a tense mood. He was feeling shy about the fact that he was taking a bath with Ayako. He started to blush when he realized that Ayako's chest was behind his back. As if this was not enough, Ayako embraced Taken. She said he is very small and cute and fits so snugly in her arms. But Taken replied saying calling him cute doesn't make him happy. This is because he is small and frail. People tease him at school too as if he is a girl. Realizing what Taken has been through, Ayako quickly apologized to him, stating she didn't know about any of it. She assured him that people grow at different rates. And boys lag a little behind girls when it comes to growing, so he doesn't have to worry about it. He will be growing up quickly before long. She advised him to eat a lot and don't be picky. And if he exercises too, it would help in his growth. She suggested Taken play a game like soccer or baseball. Taken said he isn't very good with sports like those. So Ayako suggested to try swimming. She said it is common for boys who swim to grow up into smart people. Besides, guys that swim are cool. Taken liked the fact the Ayako liked swimmers. Ayako said that is the reason she was thinking about Myo joining swimming classes too. Taken told her that he might try swimming. Ayako was happy to hear that and said he and Myo could go to the same place. She said taking English lessons and dancing could be good too. There are just so many choices. Taken looked at Ayako getting excited for Myo and commented that she surely thinks a lot about Myo. He said he respected her a lot. Ayako was surprised to hear that from Taken. He said that at the funeral, he was watching her the entire time. How she said that she will take care of Myo. Myo was all alone at the time and Ayako saved her. Ayako was different from all those other adults. Ayako at that time was like a hero and was super cool. He said that is why she is his hero. Ayako said it would be great if she really was a hero. This made Ayako very emotional and she started crying out of joy. Taken got concerned when he saw her tearing up. Ayako quickly wiped her tears and apologized to Taken, asking if she scared him. She laughed, saying this auntie surely is lame. She said a lot happened today and she failed at work. It would be great if she was a cool hero who could do everything perfectly. But even though she is doing her best with both Myo and Woke, she can't quite handle both of them. Today, just for a moment, she thought that she really couldn't handle being a mom after all. She started crying, saying she didn't deserve to be Myo's mom. She is pathetic and is so embarrassed. She has to get it together as both an adult and a mother because she still has to keep raising Myo alone from now on. Taken couldn't hold back anymore. He told Ayako that she wasn't alone. She has him and he is always there for her. Even if it is tough or scary, he will protect Ayako. He embraced her and asked her not to cry anymore. This made Ayako very happy and she was full of energy after that. Taken used to see her as something of a holy mother or a hero, but she was just a lonely woman. That's when he thought he wanted to become a man who could protect Ayako. Taken tells his entire bath scene to Satoya. But once he is done, Satoya quickly jumps to the conclusion, stating she already knew he was into Ayako's body. Annoyed, Taken asked Satoya to cut it. He asked if she was even listening to him. Later that day, Ayako is going back home when she comes across Taken's mom, Tomomi. Tomomi asked Ayako if the market was still having a special sale on meat. She thanked Ayako for celebrating Taken's birthday the other day. Ayako replied to Tomomo saying she didn't do much. She is feeling a little awkward while talking to Tomomo. They are neighbors, so she had this in mind that they would eventually encounter each other. Tomomo asks Ayako about Myo's high school. She is talking about random things when Ayako interrupts her and says she wants to talk about Taken. Tomomo realizes this quickly and asks Ayako if Taken confessed to her. Ayako is shocked to hear that and asks if Tomomo already knew about it. Tomomo replies saying she thought so. He was acting a little strange after coming back from the birthday party the other day. Ayako gets nervous and assures Tomomo that she turned Taken down. She says it is not that Taken isn't good enough or that she doesn't like him. It is just that she thought common sense would be for them to not see each other that way. She is standing there embarrassed when Tomomo says the sky is blue today. She asked if it had already been 10 years since then. She asks Ayako if she remembers the day Taken forgot his house key on that rainy day. Ayako took care of him. That day, after Taken got back, he said that when he grew up, he was going to marry Ayako. Tomomo says she didn't think that Taken was serious about Ayako. Both she and her husband just brushed it off as childish nonsense. But Taken changed after that day. He stopped being picky and started doing his best at studying and sports. Even though he was bad at it, Taken said he wanted to learn to swim. Tomomo adds that she thought Taken would fall for a girl his age long ago, but for 10 years, Taken kept doing his best in order to become a man worthy of Ayako because he loved her. Ayako goes back home and cleans the dishes while thinking about Tomomo. Tomomo told her earlier that the important thing is Ayako's feelings. He won't mind if she turns Taken down flatly if she doesn't like him, but if she happens not to be against it, then please take good care of her son, Taken. Later Myo hears about Tomomo. She is glad to hear that Taken's parents accepted Ayako. Even though, normally, they wouldn't want to accept away an older woman with a child like Taken. Ayako clarifies to Myo that she won't go out with Taken. Myo asks why can't Ayako go out with Taken. Ayako replies saying there is no way she can do love and marriage as they are not simplistic things. Myo says it is not very convincing when Ayako's never been married. Annoyed, Ayako replies saying that doesn't matter. She says Taken is misunderstanding something. He just hasn't woken up from the fantasy of his first love. She says loving an Audi past 30 like her would just bring despair. If he is going to be hurt anyway, then earlier is better. She says she will show Taken the sad reality of a woman like her. She is going to make Taken not like her anymore and show him the reality. Ayako finally decides to show Taken what it is like to love a 30-year-old woman like her and open his eyes. Later that day when Taken comes to tutor Myo, he finds Ayako all drunken. Ayako gulps the remaining drink and executes her first plan to make Taken not like her. Her first plan being a 30-year-old is hard to handle. Concerned, Taken looks at the bottle and asks Ayako if she drank the whole thing. Ayako agrees and says she has been hiding it till now. But she is actually quite a drunkard. When work isn't going well, she goes bar hopping. She doesn't even get home until the sun rises. He will have to carry her home whenever she gets too drunk. Taken says Ayako doesn't drink that much normally. But Ayako argues that she drinks a lot. She says even takes her tequila with lychee. Taken asks if lime is the one that goes with tequila. Ayako argues back saying she loves the popular highball. But Taken clarifies that it's not Tsuno but Kaku highball that is popular. Ayako argues that no matter what, she drinks a lot. Taken asks Ayako what is she talking about. She didn't even start drinking until recently. She even said she didn't drink because she always has to be ready to drive in case her daughter ever had a sudden illness or injury. She even declined to drink when his parents recommended some drinks. Ayako says she is surprised that Taken remembers so much about her. Taken replies saying he remembers it all because he has been watching Ayako all this time. Embarrassed, Ayako stands up to go to her room. But as she is about to walk, she gets dizzy. Concerned, Taken holds her and asks if she is okay. He excuses her and lifts her. Ayako is taken aback by surprise when Taken lifts her. He tells Ayako that she seems unsteady on her feet so he is worried. For now, he will take her to her room. Blushing, Ayako asks if she is heavy but Taken assures her that she is alright. Ayako can't believe that she is getting princess treatment at such an age. And like that, her first plan to make Taken not like her fails miserably. The next comes plan 2. A 30-year-old that spends money wastefully is hard to handle. Ayako turns on her laptop and decides to buy branded and expensive bags. She thinks that this will be tough. It would be better if she were spending his hard-earned money. But still, if he learns that she is a vain woman, she is also a spendthrift. She decides to tell Taken that she only uses high-branded purses. Even Taken will fall into despair after this. But when she looks at the prices of the bag, she is shocked. Ayako makes a whole scene about how the purse is over 200,000 yen. It doesn't even look like it can hold very much. There is no way the purse is over $1 million. She lays on the ground thinking it is too dangerous. Even just looking at them exhausts her. She is going to have to spend a lot of money on Myo soon. She can't be making useless purchases like this. And with that, she slams the laptop and her second plan also fails. Next, she decides to execute a plan that will take all her determination. This is truly a last resort for her. She calls Taken into the living room and asks him to wait for her. This is the one plan she didn't want to do herself. When Taken is waiting in the living room, Ayako comes in from behind taking Taken by surprise. Ayako wears the Love Kaiser solitaire dress and comes out in a band. Shocked, Taken looks at Ayako not knowing what to do at this point. Ayako says he really caught sight of her true form. She loves the anime series Love Kaiser so much that she got her hands on props and a costume. She is such a huge otaku that she records it every week and watches it at least 3 times, and that is her true form. She tells Taken that Love Kaiser airs every Sunday to rave reviews. It is a national anime aimed at young girls where transforming girl compete with evil. She is explaining the entire thing when one of the buttons of her shirt flies out. Ayako explains that when she adopted Mio, she wanted to be able to talk with her about something. So she started watching the anime that she liked with her. And she ended up getting even more addicted to it than Mio. She would be so focused when watching the anime. She couldn't believe it. The themes are so deep and she gets absorbed into the story. She wonders if it is really aimed at children. There were a lot of marches and she got her hands on many of them. 10 years ago, she would watch every episode with Mio, but as time passed, Mio stopped watching the anime. So now, she watches it alone. She is totally addicted even at this age. She asks Taken what he thinks about her obsession with anime. She asks if he wants to laugh at her. But instead of laughing, Taken asks Ayako if that costume is of Love Kaiser Solitaire. He says even though 10 years have passed, pre-transformation Solitaire, Aka Queenajima Hayumi is still super popular. She still has merch coming out and she even guest starred in that summer movie last year. Ayako gets excited and agrees with Taken. She says it was such a huge surprise that Hayumin appeared in that movie last year. Because they kept it hush-hush and not a word leaked out to the press. So when she saw her she was so shocked that she started crying. Hayumin was the cutest and the scenes where she appeared were even more cute. Taken adds that they had the original voice actor too, to which Ayako agrees. Just then, she realizes that this was actually her plan to make Taken dislike her, but it failed miserably again. She asks Taken why he knows so much about it. Taken replies by saying he watches it every week too. Taken says he already knew about Love Kaiser. When Ayako questions how he knew about it, he explains that Mio complained about it. She said Mama is buying merch and cosplaying in secret. And it is annoying how she is always inviting her to movies or events for it. Ayako just won't give up. Ayako says she likes anime and movies too. Taken replies saying if there is a movie or anime she likes, then he wants to watch it too. He has watched everything from the first series on. He thought it was only a kids anime too, and it turned out it was just plain interesting. But he ended up becoming a total fan before he knew it too. Ayako is touched by Taken's efforts for her. She realizes that he put his effort into trying to be understanding of the hobby she tried to hide so desperately. He is not making fun of her or looking down on her. He just wants to like what she likes. Taken points at the tool Ayako is holding and asks if that is Love Kaiser Solitaire's transformation item. He asks wasn't that a pricey limited time thing from Plyden. Ayako agrees and states that it is made for adults. So the quality matches the pricing. The attention to detail is amazing, and if he looks closely, it really does match what is in the show. Taken agrees, saying the tool really does match with what's in the show. Ayako explains to Taken that if he presses the button, the trump card is reversible. Taken knows about it and says that is the famous line from episode 36. Excited, Ayako says it has plenty of other famous lines recorded too, and it can play the main themes and insert songs. She presses the button and the tool starts playing the main theme song of the anime. Taken and Ayako hear the theme song and enjoy it. After the song ends, he says that the quality of the tool is worth the money. He asks Ayako if her favorite is Queenajima Hayumi. Ayako thinks about her favorite character, stating there has been a lot of change. But after all is said and done, it has to be Hayumin. First of all, Love Kaiserchker is a masterpiece among masterpieces. That whole setting of competing among the Love Kaisers until only one is left wouldn't even be aired these days. Even back then, the producers were arguing about what to do. In that dangerous world where someone was dying pretty much every week, Love Kaiser Solitaire, who Queenajima Hayumi transformed into, was in the so-called sub-Kaiser position. Taken adds that Hayumi was so cool. At first, she was the cold lone wolf, but she gradually reveals how much she cares for her friends. And then in the middle, she falls into darkness. Taken says that Grand falls into darkness. She is thrust into the pits of hell. But even then, she struggles desperately and returns to the world of light. Ayako sighs and says Kiyumi was so great when she returned. Taken agrees, saying he can feel Ayako's emotions. That scene was really great. Taken says he really wants to rewatch it after talking about it. He asks Ayako to let's rewatch the whole anime. He has the complete collection of all the series on Blu-ray. He suggests landing it to Ayako. But Ayako says they can watch it through screening. Taken asks if that is okay with her, to which Ayako agrees. She is so happy to think that she will watch it with Taken. Due to excitement, Ayako puts her hands in the air and another button falls off her shirt. Embarrassed, she quickly covers herself, stating they should make costumes in bigger sizes. She asks Taken if he wants to see this year's summer movie together, as it is pretty embarrassing for an older woman to go alone. But if Taken is with her, she will feel better. And with that, the two make a promise to go and watch the summer movie together, failing in yet another attempt to make Taken dislike her. Later, Ayako feels sad about it. She questions why did it turn out like this, even though Myo always makes fun of her. Myo agrees, saying she does make fun of Ayako, as she is into anime for little girls. She says people can have whatever hobbies they want. Still, she wishes that Ayako would stop inviting her to Love Kaiser movies and events. Ayako invites her every time even though she is not interested. Ayako cries, saying that is because she feels out of place going alone. There is a limit to being able to make a face that says she is only here to get a march for her kid. Myo suggests going with Taken next time. She looks at Ayako from afar, saying it looks like her plan to make Taken dislike her isn't going well. From what she heard, they were getting even closer. Ayako remembers everything that had happened while she tried to make Taken dislike her. She gets the feeling that they have increased their affection for each other. But she has plenty of other flaws to use. Don't underestimate the hopelessness of an older woman. She will steadily knock Taken's affection down. Myo asks Ayako how long is she planning on running away. She says it is fine either way. If Ayako is going to be like that, she has some thoughts of her own. Confused, Ayako tries to ask Myo about it, but Myo leaves to go to her room. The next day, Ayako explains everything to Yemami. Yemami is a little surprised after hearing about Taken. She laughs, saying this is a masterpiece. Who would have thought that the one that college student loves is not the daughter, but the mama? Not to mention he has only been thinking of Ayako for the past 10 years. If that's not pure love, she doesn't know what is. Ayako interrupts Yemami, saying she called her for a serious consultation. Yemami asks Ayako wasn't she boasting about Taken right now. Yemami hears Ayako, then says Taken seems like a good boy. She suggests going out with Taken for the time being. If that doesn't work out, they can just split up. But Ayako says it's not that simple. Yemami replies, saying it is that simple. It is simply a matter of a man and a woman. It is just that Ayako is focusing too much on the age gap. She tells Ayako that treating Taken like a child is a bit rude. Ayako agrees, saying that might be the case, but he is a younger guy with over a year age gap. As she thought, if they use common sense. Yemami says to think that she would hear the phrase common sense from Ayako of all the people is lame. Confused, Ayako asks Yemami what she means. Yemami says 10 years ago, Ayako was still 20 years old. She barely found a job and had no savings whatsoever, and no experience in raising a kid at all. But still, she gave in to her feelings and picked up her niece away. And she still speaks of common sense after all that. She adds that within these 10 years, Ayako has changed a lot. Ayako asks what has changed in her, to which Yemami explains that 10 years ago, Ayako was able to make that reckless decision. She was young, she had nothing to lose. Ayako realizes that she has things to lose now that she really wants to protect. She is sure the one people from back then had lives the current Ayako right now would understand. In the past was young and had nothing. That's why she could act freely and follow her feelings. Yemami says that now, Ayako has Myo. The lives that piled up over the last 10 years, like the relationship she has with her neighbors, and people near her. Even in the workplace, her position and responsibilities are different from when she was a new recruit. The grown-up Ayako who has a lot to lose now would make her use the words common sense to protect all she has. Yemami welcomes Ayako to the boring world of adults. After that call, Ayako sits on the floor with her hands covering her eyes. She wonders if her situation has no help. As she is busy lying and thinking about what she has gotten herself into, Mio comes in startling Ayako. Ayako asks Mio if she has finished studying. Mio says Ayako was in a call so Taken went home without greeting her. Ayako doesn't think much about it and says after she is finished with work, she will immediately warm up the bath. Out of the blue, Mio asks Ayako what is she going to do. Confused, Ayako asks Mio what is she talking about. Mio replies saying she is talking about Taken's confession. Ayako says it is not like she will do anything. Taken going out with her is impossible. But Mio says since Ayako was confessed to by Taken, she has done nothing but run away. Ayako denies running but Mio doesn't buy it. Mio says she doesn't care about common sense or appearances. She asks Ayako isn't just a pretext for her to run away. She says Ayako hasn't even talked about her own feelings even once. Surprised, Ayako thinks about her own feelings wondering what she wants. Mio asks Ayako to answer her honestly without thinking about her or her problems. She asks if Ayako thinks of Taken as a man. Ayako thinks that maybe her feelings and Taken's confession, she was just running away from them. But she must face them head-on. She thinks about Taken growing up and lets Mio know that she likes Taken. She loves Taken. His sincerity, his kindness, she knows them very well. He is just her type. She thinks anyone who is able to go out with a man like Taken would be happy. But, she always thought that it would be great if Mio and Taken ended up together. That was her selfish wish as a parent but at that time, she didn't think of Taken as a man, but as a son. She is over 30 already. So she can't just fall in love based on feelings anymore. Now, in this house, in this area, the risks of seeing a neighbor 10 years younger, she doesn't know how society will look at her. If it is just her, she is fine with it. But if those gazes were aimed even at Mio, she wouldn't be able to take it. Ayako thinks she is a boring adult now. And she is fine with it. She can't be a child forever. She already made up her mind to become a mother. Mio asks Ayako if she is saying she can't go out with Taken after all, to which Ayako agrees. Mio lets Taken know that he heard Ayako, who has been hiding behind the door all along. Finally, he comes out of his hiding place, embarrassed. The two share an awkward glance. Confused, Ayako asks why is he here as she thinks he went home. Mio says she is the one who asked Taken. She told him she would make Mama admit her true feelings, so pretend that he went home and just listen. Ayako asks Mio why would she do that. Mio replies saying it is because she feels sorry for Taken. Even though it took him 10 years to muster up the courage to confess to her. She has been vague and half-hearted about this the whole time. Mio adds that she knows Ayako wants to come to a solution without hurting anyone. That's just why she trying to be kind. But she thinks she is being a bit unfair. Taken apologizes to Ayako for selfishly confessing his feelings. He ended up causing trouble for both of them. He thanks Ayako for taking him seriously though. He says he knows that he was just eavesdropping but he was really happy to hear her feelings. Of course, it wasn't the answer he was hoping for but he knew this would happen anyway. And there is no way a kif like him is worthy of Ayako. No wonder that she can't see him as a man. From Ayako's point of view, it was as if his son confessed his love to her. She was just being nice to him because he was a kid. He is the only one who sees Ayako as a woman. He clenches his fist to control his emotions. With teary eyes, he says he is very disgusting. The tears fall down his cheeks as he cannot hold back anymore. Taken wipes his face, apologizes to Ayako once more and asks her to just pretend that the past few days didn't happen. If possible, he wants to continue like before. He runs out of the house while apologizing to Ayako. Ayako runs behind him to stop him but Mio stops Ayako. She asks if Ayako is going to chase him. She says that if Ayako is planning on chasing him and apologizing and then comforting him with kind words, that would be harsh. Ayako stands there worrying about what to do while the Taken slams the door behind him. Later that night, Ayako remembers Taken telling her that if things get tough, he will protect her. He is here for her. She feels overwhelmed as she truly was happy to hear those words. Some days later when Ayako wakes up, she feels depressed. Mio is frustrated because of Ayako's behavior as she overslept again. She asks Ayako to get a grip as she is an adult. Ayako apologizes to Mio and asks her to buy some bread or something for lunch. But Mio tells Ayako that she already made herself a bento for lunch. It includes all the things she likes. Her kitchen skills are aiming through the roof. She says she already cleaned the bath, turned on the washing machine, and asked Ayako to dry the laundry later. But Ayako is busy thinking about Taken's teary eyes. She looks at Mio and asks if she barking at the wrong tree right now. Mio says she doesn't want to see Ayako's face like this in the morning. Ayako asks Mio why can't she be kind to her at least in a time like this. Mio replies it is because she is Taken's ally even though it is pointless to root for him at this point. She tells Ayako that Taken got himself a partner. This shocks Ayako as she cannot believe what she heard and asks Mio about it again. Mio repeats again to make it clear that Taken has a partner now. Shocked, Ayako says Mio is lying. It hasn't even been 3 days since that time. But Mio says Taken went out with another girl since Ayako rejected him. It is only natural. He is super popular anyway, so there is no way girls around him would leave him alone. Depressed, Ayako says she guesses it is good for Taken. He is finally able to shift his attention to other girls around his age. As Mio leaves, she tells Ayako that Taken is seeing her partner today for the first time. She heard they were going to meet in front of the station and watch a movie in the afternoon. It sounds nice as college students can have days off other than weekends. Ayako cannot sit back like this anymore. She dresses like a spy and goes to check on Taken. She thinks that if they are going to the movie theater on the 6th floor, they will probably go through the area she is sitting at. She eats the food and lies to herself that she just happened to be here. She says she is only here for this limited time cherry parfait. She keeps checking around to find Taken. Soon, she sees Taken with a beautiful girl. Ayako is shocked to see Taken and the girl together. She thinks that what Mio said is true. He really got himself a partner. She looks at the girl questioning what's with her. She is very different from her. She is the complete opposite of Ayako. It is not strange for her to be a teenager. She is cute and stylish. She is gorgeous, and her arms and legs are slender too. She is sad to see that Taken fell for a woman like that. In the end, he preferred young and cute girls. Ayako looks at herself in the mirror nearby and gets depressed. She thinks she is an idiot. She thinks she isn't beautiful enough, but still decides to look for Taken. Ayako hides behind a signboard and looks at Taken and the girl enjoying their time together. She observes them closely and realizes that they get along very well. They also look great together. She wonders how far back they go. Taken's mood is completely different from when he is with her. She is shocked to see Taken drinking from the same cup as the girl, and wonders isn't that a form of love? She cannot hold back herself and loses her composure. The girl with Taken notices her and tells Taken about it. Ayako hides behind the board and decides to get out of there. But before she could do anything, Taken came to look at her. Taken instantly realizes Ayako. He says there is no way he would mistake Ayako for someone else. With no choice left, Ayako faces Taken and apologizes to Taken. He asks what is she doing behind the signboard. Ayako lies that she is here to watch a movie. But Taken asks why is she dressed like this. Embarrassed, Ayako lies that the UV rays are terrible today. She asks what is he doing here, to which Taken says he is here for the movies too. But Ayako asks what's up with his behavior. Isn't it on days off from school like this that he has a chance to study and be ahead of the rest? She says he must be enjoying himself now that he has a partner, but Taken is still a student. Taken is taken aback by surprise when he hears about the partner. The girl, Satoya, realizes that she dresses up as a girl while she or he is a boy. Satoya asks Ayako if she actually thought he was Taken's partner. Ayako asks if she is wrong about Satoya, to which he starts laughing hard. Terrified, Taken clarifies to Ayako that she got it all wrong. Satoya is just a friend from college, not his partner. Satoya on the other hand is laughing hard. He asks Taken and he says Ayako rejects him. He decides to leave Ayako and Taken alone and goes inside the theater to watch the movie first. He asks Taken to follow into the theater once he is done. Once alone, Taken clarifies that Satoya is actually a boy and not a girl. He usually crossdresses outside of college. He doesn't see it as cross-dressing, but rather just choosing cute clothes that suit him or something. Ayako is a little stunned to know about Satoya. She doesn't know how to put it into words, such as in modern times. She realizes that they are good friends and nothing more than that, and just because of that, they get along very well. Taken asks Ayako why was she following him and calling Satoya his partner. He asks if Mio said something about him. He says he told Myo that he was going to the movies with Satoya. Myo also knows that Satoya dresses like that. Not what he thinks about it. She was also asking him in great detail about that time. Shocked, Ayako wonders if that means she was tricked by Myo. Taken asks Ayako if because of what Myo said, Ayako thought he got a partner and came to confirm herself. He says he is a bit shocked to know this. Embarrassed, Ayako apologizes to Taken for what she has done. She says it was rude of her to stalk them. But Taken says he is shocked about how she thought he made a partner. He says he has liked Ayako for 10 years. How could he move on that easily? He says even now, he likes Ayako. He apologizes for being stubborn. But he says he will make an effort. He will try to stop liking her. He assures her not to worry. He doesn't think she was following them because of jealousy. She felt responsible for dumping him, so she came to see what kind of a person it was because she was worried because she was a nice person. He takes his leave after this as Satoya is waiting for him. Ayako runs behind him and stops him by grabbing his sleeve. She asks Taken not to stop liking her. Ayako tells Taken that it is probably because of jealousy that she came here today to check up on Ayako and Satoya. The shock made her unable to stay still. When she heard that Taken got a partner, she couldn't help but dislike the fact that he was going away from her. But Taken was kind of like a son to her and she couldn't see him as a man, at least that is what she thought. Even so, ever since that time he confessed his feelings to her, her head was full of thoughts about him. She couldn't even think straight. He had no idea how it all came down to this. Maybe, from the start, she had seen him as a man. Taken confirms that what Ayako is saying is that to some extent, she saw him as a man, but she was still thinking of him as a man. And that is why she couldn't go out with him. Even so, she doesn't want him to get a partner, and she wants him to keep liking her. Is that it? Hesitantly, Ayako agrees to Taken's statement. Because of this, Taken burst out laughing. He says that is kind of awful. He laughed so hard. He laughs even more and then assures Ayako that he will do all that she says. He won't get a partner and he won't stop liking her. He says there is no choice for him. He picks up Ayako's bag and hands it over to her. He tells her that is what being in love is all about. He asks if he can think that there is still hope. Ayako thanked Taken for whatever he said to her. She also agrees about the hope part. Taken understands her situation. He says he will do his very best so that Ayako can fall in love with him. Ayako asks Taken, please be gentle with her.